Stories of medical miracles are not necessarily that new, but this is a special story. It's a story of a young girl with a deadly disease. Her only cure was a life-threatening, experimental too, operation to remove half her brain. And as John Scott found out, it was the love and the care and the nurture of her older brother that willed and pulled little Beth through her ordeal.
She was on a seesaw with an older boy. And when she was up in the air, the older boy got off and she fell. That's when she had her first seizure, and I ran and brought her in and told the office. They called my mom, and my mom came and called an ambulance. Then brought her to the hospital.
Brian Usher Jr. looks out for his sister. To him, Beth is special. To many, she is a walking miracle. 2 years ago, 9-year-old Beth Usher had half of her brain removed in surgery at Johns Hopkins Children's Center in Baltimore. Doctors operated to save her life and give Beth a chance to live normally. Today, Beth is a third grader in Storrs, Connecticut. But Brian Jr. remembers the 2.5 years of pain that his little sister went through. He was at her side as Beth fought for her life.
When she first got it, I didn't know what was going on. So I didn't really know. I thought it was just something she was going through, and then after a few weeks she'd be better. But after a month or so, I started to get real worried.
Beth Usher was a normal 5-year-old until the day she fell off the seesaw. Then the seizures started, one after another, up to 100 a day, seizures that were starting to kill her. It took over a year for doctors to find that it wasn't the fall that was causing Beth's problems. A rare disease called Rasmussen's encephalitis was attacking Beth's brain, causing it to shrink. Brian Jr. was with his sister as she was treated at hospital after hospital.
Sometimes I was even mad at the doctors. She had about 10 tests every day. It was really painful for her. So I just felt like I was gonna just explode. I was so mad.
There is no drug treatment for Rasmussen's encephalitis, but almost 2 years into the disease, Beth's family found hope at the Johns Hopkins Children's Center. They were offered 2 options. Watch the disease cause Beth to deteriorate. Untreated, she would die within 4 years. And the second, radical brain surgery, a hemispherectomy, removed the diseased portion of Beth's brain, the entire left hemisphere.
The operation is not without risk. Children die. Of the 25 hemispherectomies that we've done, we've had 1 child who's died, 1 child who was left more impaired than she was at the time she went into operation. Most of our children have done very well, but these are operations which have major risk.
The Ushers made the hardest decision of their lives when they decided to let Beth take the risk of surgery on February 4th, 1987.
It was like 10 minutes before the operation, before they were gonna put her to sleep and start the operation. She called me, and she was almost crying. It was just so scary then.
Beth Usher was in surgery 12 hours. Hemispherectomies are performed almost exclusively on children because, if successful, a child's brain naturally transfers the information from the diseased lobe over to the healthy side. They have a chance of coming out of the operation with their faculties intact. But Beth did not come out of it. She went into a coma.
We were blaming ourselves. What did we do? What did we do to this poor kid?
All the Ushers could do was wait. Days turned into weeks as Beth lay in a coma.
I would walk into the go into the chapel. There was a little chapel in the hospital, and I would pray for her.
Then Brian Jr. would go upstairs to his sister's room
and crawl right into bed with her and hug her and talk to her and rub her back and, just try to comfort her because it was the only thing that he knew how.
And she was in a coma for about a month, and when she finally woke up, my mom and dad, I was at my aunt's house, and my mom and dad called me in the morning and told me, and I was so excited I was jumping around.
Slowly, Brian's little sister came back to life.
I can remember is that he would tell me that everything would be all right, and he told me that I would get out of the hospital soon.
Like a dream come true, Beth Usher came home in the spring of '87. She was back in school before it let out for the summer. Today, Beth has slight paralysis on her right side. She takes one special education class in reading, but other than that, she's a regular third grader. Her brother Brian is still looking out for her, though. He says he always will.
Yes, I do. I really love her. She does a lot for me and helps me.
He's fun to be with because he makes me feel better. He reads me books and plays with me. Helps me clean my room. He's the best brother that I could have.
He's the new American hero, the pilot of the U.S. Airways jet who flawlessly landed his plane in the Hudson River. Chesley Sullenberger, known as Sully, is being hailed the hero of the Hudson in front-page headlines. Tribute pages popped up overnight on Facebook with thousands of messages of admiration, and President Bush also hailed his heroism.
We are very grateful that everyone is off the airplane safely, and that was really what my husband asked to convey to everyone. And of course, we are very proud of Dad.
His wife Lori's voice cracked as she spoke of the drama. She is a fitness expert on a San Francisco TV station, and they have 2 young daughters.
My husband has said over the years that it's highly unlikely for any pilot to ever have an incident in his career, let alone something like this.
57-year-old Sully's heroism didn't end with bringing down the plane safely. He was the last man off, wading the aisles in waist-deep water to make sure all passengers were off.
The pilot did a masterful job of landing the plane in the river and then making sure that everybody got out.
New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg spoke in awe of his heroism.
I had a long conversation with the pilot. He walked the plane twice after everybody else was off and tried to verify that there was nobody else on board.
Sully was the right man with the right stuff at the right moment.
He's a pilot's pilot, and he loves the art of the airplane.
This is Sully as an Air Force Academy cadet when he was 22. He flew F-4 Phantom jets for 7 years.
This captain did an incredible job. He's a man whose hand I would like to shake someday.
This is how it looked from the pilot's point of view, recreated for Inside Edition in a flight simulator. He avoids Manhattan skyscrapers to land in the Hudson River at an estimated 140 miles per hour. Courage in the cockpit was matched with compassion in Thursday's drama. Several passengers suffered from hypothermia in the freezing temperatures. Survivor Barry Leonard told Good Morning America the pilot or co-pilot literally gave him the shirt off his back.
I actually still have it this morning. I'm not going to give it up.
Oh, what a difference a day makes. Today, Emma Sofina is safe and thankful she's alive. A professional singer from Australia, Emma was on her way to Charlotte to visit friends when the U.S. Airways jet went down.
And then next minute, bang, and I thought we'd hit a building.
You just heard the pilot, brace yourself for impact. You know, how do you brace yourself for impact when you know your plane's about to crash?
Our cameras captured 23-year-old Bill Zuhowski being loaded into an ambulance moments after his rescue.
The impact hitting the water was just, you know, the most tremendous impact you could imagine. You know, I guess my head slammed into it. I lost my glasses.
Still trembling from his ordeal, Zuhowski remembers everything that happened as freezing water started flooding in.
For a second, I just thought that I was going to die right there in a plane, you know. I was just going to drown. The water was coming up so fast in the back, I ripped all my clothes off thinking, you know, I'd be lighter, I might have to swim. I was, you know, completely soaking wet in my underwear.
Rescuers covered Suhosky with blankets so he wouldn't freeze to death. The fist pump says it all as passenger Ray Mandrell realizes he has made it to safety.
That was in celebration. Everybody made it out the plane.
Mandrell was traveling with Renee Williams, a music publicist from Florida. She says she and other passengers held hands in prayer when they realized the plane was going down.
The girl next to me, she saw me and she just started shaking, and I grabbed her hand and I looked at her and I said, "Don't worry, you're gonna be okay. We've got angels protecting us."
Other survivors got emotional welcomes from their families when they finally arrived in Charlotte.
Happy to be home.
9-month-old Damian Sosa and his 4-year-old sister Sophia appeared with her parents on the Today Show. Mom Tess told how a total stranger took hold of her son and held him tightly until the moment of impact.
What would you like to say to him?
Thank you. Thank you, and thank God.
Amazing stories of survival from the miracle on the Hudson.